Now, how would you feel about your grandchildren moving in with you? Well, former Blue Peter presenter Janet Ellis is right here. Now, she made headlines after revealing that she has welcomed her 20-year-old grandson, Sonny, basically as a housemate, and joins me now. It's so lovely to see you.
It really is. Lovely to be here.
What a great idea. What a great idea, because you were kind of left on your own, weren't you? You know, after your husband died.
Very much so, yeah.
And then all of a sudden the house is really quiet.
Yes.
You know, it's just quiet.
Had a different energy completely when it's just you know, putting the bins out. Although I have to say, it's still me putting the bins out.
Oh, really?
I've noticed.
I'm going to have to have a word.
I've had a word, Lorraine.
It's not happening.
But no, and he's really lovely. And we were close before.
Of course.
And the relationship is really proper for both of us. You know, we've always discussed everything.
Yeah.
But, and when I ask him outright, things happen. But I would say he's not intuitive about the way the house runs.
He's just like, he's a normal 20-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was your daughter's idea. Yeah, Sophie said this would be a good idea, because you live very, very close, and I know you've been on grandmother duty, the joy, basically forever. You know,
yeah,
since the kids
yours
arrived.
to come. I'm so happy.
I'm so excited. But it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
It does, actually. When Sophie first suggested it, I said to Sonny, how do you feel about this? Because if you're 50-50, that's not enough.
Sure.
And he said, I'm probably not quite 50-50, like 49-51. And I said, well, when you feel that you're just slightly over, let's go for it. And when he did, he was really quick about it as well. It was like, I'm coming next week. In a way, it was quite good for me, because the room that he's in now had become storage. And a lot of that stuff was John's, or things that I hadn't dealt with.
And things you didn't want to deal with,
I really didn't want to. And it forced my hand. And it's not for everyone to do this, but actually I got the kids round, my kids, you know, Jack, Martha and Sophie, and we went through everything. And as usual, dealing with anything to do with all of this, we laugh and we cry all the time about what's happening and what we're doing and what we're dealing with. But it did mean when Sonny arrived, the room was empty.
Sure.
It was empty.
And then he can just do what he wants there. And you lead, you know, reasonably separate lives, of course. He can come and go as he pleases.
Absolutely.
But you see each other as well.
We do, yeah. We do. At the moment, I'm out way more than him, but that's okay. He's used to that. Yeah, and I love the energy of having someone else in the house.
Sure.
And, you know, there's music coming out of his room, and he's learning the guitar, and I can hear him getting really good.
Well, I mean, with his mum and dad, you know, it's not surprised it's musical. I mean, that makes sense.
But I think a lot of it was that, you know, he's got 4 brothers. They're all younger than him. The littlest one is only 5 now, you know. So when Sonny moved in, he was just about to start school.
Right.
And the default of the house, of course, is to the little ones. Of course it is. They're the ones with the timetable.
Sure.
And I think Sonny had felt increasingly that he was trying to find his space. So I'm a halfway house, really.
No, you are, and it's a lovely idea, because it's really hard, especially in London, for kids now to find somewhere to stay that they can afford.
Absolutely.
So staying with Gran makes perfect sense until the next stage in his life.
Absolutely.
When he does whatever he wants to do. But for you, it's like I said, it's just having somebody else there.
Someone to cook for. I like that. I love cooking anyway. And I'm happy to say that after John died, I stayed in love with cooking, which I'm really glad about, because I think it's a thing that makes me feel me. And preparing food for somebody else is always a joy too.
Of course it is.
Yeah,
and especially young boys, because they eat like horses, don't they? Which is great, and they're always appreciative. It's like, eat it all. You have got a great bond with your grandchildren, and you always have. Are they like, you know, I mean, obviously Blue Peter was a massive part of your life when you were younger. Are they in any way impressed, Janet, by that? Because they should be, frankly.
No. No. Obviously, I've got the annuals. You know, we used to have a Blue Peter annual every year, which is useful, actually, because I can't remember half the things I did, and there it is. I can remember. And I show it to them sometimes. If something comes up, you know, I say, oh, yeah, well, I did something like that. And I show them these pictures of obviously a very different-looking woman. And then I say, this is what I did, and I jumped out of planes, and I met these people. And they obviously think, when did they let old people do that stuff? That's what's written all over their faces. They are beyond not impressed. Beyond. Yeah, a little bit would be nice.
Yeah.
Just sometimes.
Just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit.
But it is really interesting that it's that thing of, because in a lot of families and in a lot of different cultures, there is that thing of we all live together. I mean, I remember going to Bali and everybody lives together. And, you know, in the Far East, that's what happens. And we don't do it enough. And actually, you can teach him so much, but he can teach you so much as well.
It is absolutely.
Keeps you young.
It's a mutual exchange.
Yes.
And his opinions and ideas about what's going on in the world. And obviously, he's bringing new music in, and music is always a big part of our lives.
Of course.
But just that energy, really. And it's really hard when you lose your partner. You lose so much more than just that person you did things with or things, you know, doing nothing with, which is even more important.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people to do things with.
Yes,
Not very many people to do nothing with, just sitting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it becomes just you doing stuff, and that energy is huge. I think that's why grief is so tiring, because you are just making every single decision on your own. And suddenly there's someone to share that with, and that's really lovely.
It's good. Well, you know what? We've been asking you if you would let your grandchild live with you. 66% of you said yes, you would. I think when they're 20, it's quite good and they can look after themselves.
Absolutely.
But I'm very much looking forward to the tiny, tiny baby stage. It's going to be great.
It is lovely.
You are working on your third novel right now. I take my hat off to you.
I know. Watch me rolling
my
eyes. Isn't it hard?
It is hard.
It's so hard.
It's amazing, but it's just getting the time and getting in the zone.
I know, and you know, I've obviously, like you, I've got loads of friends who are writers, and I think all of them feel the same about writing. You know, there's no one who shows up and goes, hooray, another day. and I read this quote from somebody the other day who said, I'm really unhappy when I'm writing and I'm unhappy when I'm not writing. And I think that really sums it up.
That's about it. That makes me feel better somehow.
It is
Janet, it's a joy to see you. Come back and see me anytime.
Oh, thank you for having me.
so much. You've just got it sorted. That's what I like. OK.